something you've never heard and will blow your mind. Once upon a time, I told you stories from Africa. Fun enough to make you laugh. Bright enough to light your day. Super lessons you learn from it, and it makes you go.
Hello children, welcome to Grandma Wura's Story Hut, where my stories give you wings and fly you on an African adventure. Today's story is titled The Greedy Merchants. A long time ago, in a little village called Kenenso, lived a tale called Isono Isura. Now, Laolu, for as long as he could remember, had always heard his grandmother tell him the story, or the tale, or rather the mystery behind Isono Isura, and how no one had been able to solve the mystery behind the treasure, because the treasure was never to be found alone. Laolu was now grown and working at the port, a shipping port, where he worked as a guide. One day, while he was waiting for merchants from overseas to join his guide, he heard these two other merchants talking about the mystery of the treasure of Isono Isura. Then he went to them, hearing them argue over the treasure. And he asked them if they knew anything about the treasure. But they said, yeah, they had heard a few stories about the treasure, but they didn't think it actually existed because no one had ever been able to solve the mystery. And so Laolu told them that it actually did exist and that he had the map. While he was talking to the merchants, he remembered that his mother always told him never to reveal the fact that he had the map, because he was never to go on that journey with people he did not know or trust. But anyway, he resolved within himself that he would tell these two merchants about it, and that his plan would be that when they found the treasure, he would eventually ditch them and run away with the treasure of Isono Isura. So he made a proposition, and the merchants decided that they were going to go along with him to find the treasure. Getting home that evening, Laolu revealed to his grandmother that he was going on the treasure hunt of Isono Isura with these merchants. His mother said, "Why would you go with strangers, people you do not know? I do not think you're quite ready for this adventure." But he revealed to her his plan about how he was going to ditch them the moment he got his hands on the treasure. At this point, his grandmother was very certain he wasn't ready for the journey, and she urged him to wait a while longer. But he insisted. So she reminded him of the song she always sang to him about this treasure. And the end always said, "Many will walk the path, but only one takes it." Laolu said, "Yes, I have heard. I know the song." And he left. Laolu knew very well that the journey, the treasure hunt to Isono Isura, was to either take 3 days or 30 days. 3 days was going to be the easiest, but the most dangerous. For 30 days, it was going to be the most difficult, but the most rewarding. The night he eventually met up with the merchants, Lucas and Roger. He was very upset because he realized they had come with 5 other merchants, and that was not part of the plan. However, he kept his thoughts to himself. As they embarked on the journey, they stopped to rest that night. And while the other merchants were asleep, Laolu woke Roger and Lucas up and told them how that he did not want to go on the journey with the other merchants, but that he had a better way and a shorter route to which they could get the treasure, which was easier. And so, after much talking, the other 2 merchants agreed with Laolu to go the shorter route. And so before the other 5 merchants woke up, they had left. In 3 days, they had gotten to the cave of Isonosura. Oh my goodness. It was so much beauty to behold. They saw gold jewelries all over the cave. And right at one corner, they saw the treasure of Isonosura. And as though they all could read one another's minds, they planned to ditch one another. They all ran all at once and grabbed hold of the treasure. They fought. While they fought, the treasure fell to the ground. Then immediately, the cave began to shake. The next thing they knew, they disappeared. Or was it that they just became a little smaller? No, not a little smaller, much, much smaller. Green, slimy. They had all turned into frogs. And then the argument continued. Oh, you should have allowed me to take it. I was meant to take it. Oh, da 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 da. And all that argument continued. They were in that cave for the next 30 days. When finally, when the 5 merchants arrived, they noticed the talking frogs and also recognized their voices. It was Laolu, Roger, and Lucas. They laughed at them. But then they wondered why they had turned into frogs. They looked over to where the treasure of Isonosura was. And all together, all at once, they placed their hands on the mask and raised it. Silence. The cave did not shake. Nothing happened. The other 3 frogs wondered why they did not turn to frogs. While they were wondering this, the 5 merchants turned and looked at them, saying, "While you all left us to take the shorter route, we took the route that was longer and that was harder. However, we learned a lot of bonding. We learned a lot of discipline. We learned to walk together. We learned to walk as a team." It was at that point that Laolu remembered the saying that his mother always sang to him after singing the treasure of Isonosura, which said, "Many will walk the path, but only one can take it." One heart, as a team. In other words, the end. I hope you learned a thing or two from today's story. But not to worry, there will always be another story for another day. Until we come your way again on the Grandma Wura's Story Heart. This is Grandma Wura saying bye-bye. Today on Grandma Wura's Story Heart, we learned that planning to outsmart others when working as a team to achieve something together is never a good thing. We also learned that we must always learn to listen and take wise counsel whenever it is being given. Like the three merchants, we must never be greedy because greed eventually brings a bad omen. Discuss more of the other lessons you learned today with your parents or guardians. You can reach me at Grandma Wura on Facebook and Instagram with the supervision of an adult. Also visit www.proudafricanroots.com to get your own copy of the Grandma Wura Story Heart ebook.
Tell you something you've never heard and will blow your mind. Once upon a time, I'll tell you stories from Africa. Fun enough to make you laugh. Bright enough to light your day. Super lessons you learn from it, and it makes you go.